3 o'clock, 3 o'clock, let's go ahead and now stand up for the pledge of duty.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll go ahead and have roll call. So in attendance, we have Bob, Ed, Carol, and myself, and I believe we have Doug Banks online. I need a motion for allowing Doug to fully participate in the meeting remotely due to exceptional circumstances. So we have a motion by Bob, second by Ed. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Hey, Doug, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you.
No problem. So approval of the final agenda. So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second for the approval of the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public comment.
I have one public comment. Ed Hedges regarding item 11B. I know you already know, but just a reminder, you get your 3 minutes. So
The only thing I
please
want,
announce yourself. I won't start your time.
Ed Hedges, 10532 Azura, and PPAC, Vice Chair. The only thing I want, Russ's landscape assessment or methodology that he went through was based on Ameriscape's base landscape bid for Pelican, which was like $575,000. That's only one line item of the landscape budget. The total landscape budget's a little over $900,000 in 25. Some of it's irrigation replacement, tree trimming, other things that all impact tree line as well. So the numbers that I believe he did are understating what the impact and what the shift would be that would actually go to Gateway or to other that you have to look at when we go through and figure out all the other line items in the landscape budget have to be allocated between tree line and inside the gate as well. It just might be understating the impact right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. No, nobody else?
Nope.
Okay. Local achievements and recognitions. Do you have anything?
I'd just like to call it, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, you might be duplicate.
No, probably, I don't know. I'd just like to call out our public works staff. We've received a bunch of compliments regarding the painting of the monuments in Pelican Preserve. And we've got, I think, 2 emails over the last day or so. So I just want to give shout out to those guys.
And that's just the painting that we're doing with the drip line, the landscape and the lighting, all the work that they've been doing to improve those over there.
Oh, thank you.
Not for staff in this one, but this is for vendors. I had people here in Gateway Greens that were very complimentary of both MRI and Metower on their pond work in the community. Both jobs came out beautiful. They look fantastic, and the people were very, very well pleased. Not only with the end result, but with how you got to the end result. We had a few issues here and there, but when you're doing this type of work, it's hard to tear up dirt and make a mess and not make somebody mad. And these people, or a couple of them, are very opinionated, and I hear about it on the bad side. And I was quite pleased when I heard about it on the good side, that we're very happy with both 105 and was it 130? 130. Yeah, both contractors did a great job on those 2 lots.
Pass that information along.
Thank you, Ed. We'll go ahead and move to advisory committees and items 2 and 4. We have Pelican Preserve Advisory Committee report.
And I would like to commend Peggy Hall. That was a very concise and report of what's going on. And if that really helps, I would love it if we could get that from the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee also.
Totally agree. And I think that we have required, and then they have a new chair, right?
Yes,
So maybe,
we're gonna work on getting these in tandem with the district staff's monthly reports on the second meeting of each month. So we're gonna get that in tandem.
This would be a good format for everybody to see.
Absolutely.
I agree. Well, let's go ahead and move to approval of minutes.
I move on agenda item 8A and B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You know, I can't hear Doug.
He's not.
Aye.
There he is.
Sorry, Doug.
Wait,
I move on consent agenda items A and B.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nothing for district manager,
Engineer.
Engineers next week.
One question on 9B. I was noticing on both the bids of Aviano and pronounce it.
Ravenna.
They took out the striping. Why did they take out the striping? Don't you?
I don't think there's any.
There isn't any striping? Okay.
they're
Okay,
both
residential
residential
roads. Okay, that can be a little dangerous.
Yeah, they're
You don't
both
have striping.
residential roads.
But there aren't any right now?
No.
Okay.
Is there any agreement?
Are we on agenda item 11A?
11A.
Okay, I would like to move to ask our consultant for methodology to, based on the conversation that we had today, and with ponds and roads, that he redo the report.
Hmm.
Because at the next meeting on the 20th is the public hearing. And I don't want people coming and saying, okay, and such and such page 5, it says blah, 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 blah. And we say, oh, no, we're already working on that. We're gonna change it. I think we should make all the changes
A revised
Revise it
version prior
and
to
have
next meeting.
the correct thing where we stand right now
That's what I said.
in front of everybody.
All right, so that's what Rusty is gonna do, and we just go ahead and do it. You just need direction, right?
I think he has to.
Right?
I heard it an hour ago.
Okay,
Okay, and then you're going to revise. And you're gonna do the whole thing, so we're gonna have new tables 19 and 20 also, which is where,
Anything else for Russ?
that's my motion.
you're making a motion?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second your motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you, Russ.
Yes,
Yeah. Thanks, Russ.
short one, this.
See you in 2 weeks.
Thanks up for.
Thanks, Fred.
Yeah, landscape irrigation system.
Yep, so we have James from RWA here and Nathan is our project manager for this one, overseeing it, but we'll have James come up and do a presentation.
James McCord, RWA for record. So this is 30%, so it's very conceptual. So what we looked at for the landscape and irrigation, the landscape was added after the original project of just the irrigation system. The executive summary just kind of states the basic findings that we have so far when it comes to both the irrigation and landscape. Given that order of magnitude, which an order of magnitude is, the cost is a very movable object, if you will. It's just a very budgetary number. 60% will have some pretty good costs because we'll actually start have equipment and know exactly how much we're gonna really need. And this is just based on square foot methods, and taking for landscape was just taking a simple bed that was like, which you guys have out and kind of price how much that would cost and have so many, and came up with the square foot method. So depending on how much area we've got. So the pricing is a little, like I said, it's very, very budgetary, very, next time we'll have a significantly better idea of what the cost would be for the system. So that the irrigation was based on square footage. Think it's a little high, but it's good to know. The contingency was like about 4 million, and then the irrigation was about $500,000.
Are we saying that the 500,000 on Griffin Drive is in addition to the 4 million? So we're at 4.5 million for the total?
The landscape, yes, sir. The landscape would be about $500,000. And that
Okay,
includes,
the irrigation was in the 4, the
Yeah.
landscaping is an
Yes.
additional $500,000.
and that included, included sod, and the landscape was, a lot of it was sod and some beds to make the sod, make the Griffin Drive more uniform.
So
Okay,
are
and
you, are you basically tearing everything up and taking everything out and putting all new stuff in?
Everything except the service lines, which are the large lines. So from the meter on is going to be all replaced for the irrigation system, control systems and everything like that too.
So
Okay, where are the service lines?
that'd be the lines coming off.
That's the big
basically the big stuff.
Oh,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
big stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
but
we're
the
not,
big stuff in every community,
Like,
no, I mean, down the road.
yes, ma'am, just the
Okay.
common areas and the right of ways. Yes, ma'am.
why couldn't we have salvaged some of that pipe and just put the controllers on the existing, let's say 1 inch, 1.5 inch lines instead of tearing out everything?
Well, a few reasons. One, we have no information exactly how the original system was built to do that. The cost to do those things, just for people to go and try to dig and find these items is gonna be enormous, to be honest with you. Two, PVC has about a 40-year shelf life, and you're kind of close to that already. So you could, there'll be some areas that are newer that we will say that don't have in the next phase, that don't need the immediate attention, but go ahead and have it designed out. So when those things start needing to be replaced, so it can be replaced over time if it can't be done all at one time.
So you're coming off the meter, off the main, you're not doing anything with the mains. Are we adding new meters to connect in, or are we utilizing the existing meters to make the extensions to the controllers?
Currently, we're going to try to use just the existing meters. There are some limitations that we're finding out, which is the service lines. So that'll be in the next one. We're going to look at the most cost efficient way to do it. It could be maybe we just upgrade the service lines and you can double your water capacity on some of those because there's some pressure issues, some flow issues. And I think that's what it is. But we still got a little bit more to look at. We're still trying to get a final determination of which meters are actually yours. So I'm waiting on that from staff, and we're working on that next. And if we can use those, we can minimize the clocks. But if not, we may add more controllers to reduce piping. So I'm going to look at what's going to be the most cost effective way to implement this.
This is all basically a linear system, correct?
Yes, sir. I guess
For all, basically,
yes, sir.
most part. How many controllers have you had in the system? I had a real difficult time with the map. We needed a big map that just shows everything instead of those real detailed maps of going to S to S to S to B to C to F.
We gave you a puzzle for a reason.
Yeah.
So
I need that. But how many
The
controllers do we have?
order of magnitude says that right now I'm proposing four actual controllers that can handle 200 zones per controller. We're going, full 2-wire system.
How many
And then-
zones?
Don't know that yet. I think currently you have about 300, I think now, but that'll change based on designing it for more efficiency. It may take more. There may be some of these limiting factors they may not have taken into consideration. So we may have to make some smaller, but you'll have enough capacity for 800 zones. I don't think we're going to go 3 times as much, but mainly the restriction is the distance. The clock can only send signal so far. So
Okay.
I've maxed those out. And then I've got one spot so we don't have to run conduit. I've got what they call like a little substation.
Sub-controllers.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we
So
have
it's like-
that over cable.
So it's like 5 controllers, and we're looking at the baseline system. Probably was the best out of all the choices that we had for this.
Good.
Plus you guys already own one too, so.
Do you, I did not see anywhere that we any longer have any nodes. You've, like to me, you've eliminated all
All
of
those are gonna go away, so you can, because you can't really have good information with those. So everything is gonna be tied in, so staff will know exactly how much water flowed, where the problems are. And
Well, the thing is, you add a lot of costs by eliminating nodes. But the other issue is, unlike David Reed's, where we have a bunch of cul-de-sacs, the last thing I wanted to do is run thousands of feet of wire and pipe to get to a cul-de-sac. We don't have that here. It was basically a linear. So the necessity of having nodes to begin with was questionable to start.
Yeah, and these days, since technology has changed, you can buy controllers that are solar panel DC controllers that don't have to run wire like that. And we're gonna look at all these different things. If we can keep the wire down, the conduit down, what's gonna be the most cost-effective way to do this?
Okay, you led right into the question that I ran into at Gateway. Have you coordinated your controller locations with FPL? That require power.
Right now, the controller locations are where controllers are right now.
So
there's
there's
power.
energized now,
Because I mean, some of those could be $5,000 to get drop some power, and we try not to. do that.
5,000, yeah, lots of left.
Yeah,
But double that. FPL is immensely difficult to work with on that.
I've worked with them in the past on a lot of
If you-
projects.
If you've answered that question and you've got power at your controllers and your subcontrollers, that's good.
Yeah, and like I said, so I actually looked at where the existing controllers are because we knew we had power there and placed those first. And like I said, I was able to get by 4 with the distances. And again, so we didn't have to run conduit all the way down Daniels Road. We talked about, and we went to a little substation that can communicate with the other controllers because it's going to by cell modem. But and there's power there because there's something else already. There's already a controller there. So yes, so I took that into consideration because that could be a really big cost, and there's no need to add that cost.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I learned that the hard way dealing with FPL.
Yeah, and another thing we're proposing, which I think from talking to staff, they were in favor for, and it's a little more expensive, the project, but is putting all the 2-wire and conduit. That way, if something happens, you can replace it, and this will add the longevity of the system. Because that way, most of your problems with irrigation systems are electrical, and this will help solve that, and it'll save you a lot of money in the long run, and like I said, make this thing last you a lot longer. It's more of an investment.
And you did mention baseline.
Yes, sir. I looked at 6 different control systems, and it came down to 2. Then after work, seeing what would work best with what you guys have, and then again that you've already got it, plus the 10-year warranty with baseline. We felt that was going to be the best solution.
So this
I hope
is
that's
a
acceptable.
30,000 foot overview. We're only at 30% design. We'll bring back to you at 60% design where we're at. A couple meetings ago, you approved for additional landscaping of Griffin Drive since it's minimal. So he is incorporating and caught that up to the 30% design of the irrigation. So as we continue to progress, we'll bring back those plans and those designs to you.
Is this an enterprise project?
No, this is a general fund out of the 2023 bond series funded project.
Can you go to the?
Meaning it's bond money.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's going to be annual or amortized. Can you go to the next, on the executive summary, the next, yeah, there you go. No, is that it? Where's the one that showed that had nodes and input devices? That, if we got rid of the nodes.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're thinking of a different type of node, like you're thinking of a battery powered controller.
Yes,
This is moisture sensors, rain buckets.
okay, so they're not,
no.
they're not controlling the operation of the water.
The nodes and input devices, those are actually input devices for the system. So we can set this, so like if it rains, a
Okay.
quarter inch,
Moisture,
it
that kind of
stops,
stuff.
and it automatically recalculate how much. So this makes your system smart. So the nodes.
Okay, go on to the next one, the one that had the plantings.
Yes, sir.
There you go. What is a 1 gallon plant material?
It's just the size of container. It's a smaller.
Would that be considered like an annual?
No, sir. It's just the size of plant material. It's a nursery size. It's the pot's going to be about a 9-inch pot.
So it's not,
Smaller plant.
okay, so, okay.
The size of the bucket
Yes.
Okay, I
is
get,
1 gallon.
I get confused with the gallon of an annual versus a gallon of a plant, because I'm doing this right now, and I love your numbers, but they are a lot less than the numbers I'm thinking. Yeah,
You're seeing unit cost at 50 cents, but there's 21,000. That's unit cost per square foot. So that one little pot might cover, if it's a plant that's going to have a 3-foot spread, a normal 3-foot spread, it's going to cover 9 square feet. So 9 times that 50 cents is about $5.
Okay.
So
just
it was just,
find out if you had a secret because I wouldn't tell my landscape people, I'm not seeing these numbers.
well, a couple of things too. When you go and competitively bid large projects like this, you're going, actually I put a higher number than I think you'll get it for too. So again, the 50 cents is not for the plant, it's for the square foot the plant takes up.
And the 3-to-1 palms. That means every third
That,
tree is going to be a palm.
no, man, that means 1 tree or 3 palms. It's,
So 1 tree or 3 palms.
yeah, 3-to-1 ratio. Typically, that's what,
He's just trying to avoid saying no.
Where do you palms?
so
You have to plant oaks.
not necessarily.
Yeah, I think
That's our identity. So
But
I
then-
encouraged him to plant oaks where it was smart and did not interfere with Bill's operations of the utility.
I'd be in the lakes.
yeah,
Well,
But aren't they also dirty and lake all over? And
All of the above.
all trees have some type of limit.
okay, so I do have a question with that. We're talking about Gateway Boulevard.
Griffin.
This is Griffin.
Griffin.
This has not been ironed out.
I know, I'm just trying to. I don't wanna get work that we don't even have a vision for it as a board, right? I don't wanna give work for him and for staff. So I'm trying to picture what Oaks would be at. It would be on Crystal Side Park. If any, because we don't have space on the other side.
And hey, just really quick, I just want
We're
to,
gonna run into an issue on Griffin Drive relative expenditure funds. I can tell you that right
And,
now.
and
A
we'll,
big issue.
and we'll need to look at clear zones and things like that to make sure that there is a tree that may be appropriate, oak may not be appropriate. There may not be enough space, distance for a car to recover, and you sure don't want to put yourself in a liability. So we'll use FDOT standards for clear zones and things like that. So that's going to depend on the species. Once we start looking at each little spot, running these numbers, running view zones to make sure we don't cause any traffic issues.
And then if they can just refresh my memory, the front of the elementary school, that is not us, or.
So on the front
That's-
side,
that's-
between the road and the sidewalk, that big area of Bahia, that's us. So the idea, right, is you don't,
The only place that I can think that will be able to.
so you don't even have to do the oaks. So in the front of that design drawing, you have a palette of different options for planting material that eventually you guys will be presented with to make a decision of what you want that theme to look like down that
Okay.
corridor. So it doesn't even have to be an oak. We could stick with the sables that we already have and just continue it and maybe just change out the planting material. The big part of that is changing the right side of the road going northbound from Bahia to the St. Augustine Palmetto to match the other side of the road
You got that.
uniformity.
Doug's got his hand raised too.
Yeah.
A lot of areas you put red, which denotes no landscaping, no irrigation. What?
The right side of the road does not have irrigation right now.
No, that's what we
Yeah,
have.
well, my thought is that how do we explain to the people who live in the areas that don't have anything? And a good one is basically West Links Drive. That's almost totally gone. We just gonna let that grass go dead? We're gonna handle that.
Wait,
Yeah.
West Links Drive, that's
From Commerce to Daniels.
from Commerce to Daniels.
Okay.
As I noticed on the drawing, all of that was red both sides of the creek, which means we're.
So on the opposite side, on those edges right there, we only have like a
Yeah.
2-foot strip
Yeah,
right there.
it's-
We don't water that currently, and we're not recommending to add irrigation
So
there.
between the sidewalk and the curb where there's grass.
We do not currently irrigate that. No. We only do the the 2 medians at the
I
end.
saw the medians.
That's the only thing that we currently irrigate, and we're not recommending adding irrigation to those zones.
The reason being is the cost to do it would be for the,
I'm just thinking of the people that are there, they're gonna say.
Yeah.
You got your area of water, mind it.
currently it's not, and so we're just saying, we don't suggest I mean, you can do whatever, we're just suggesting that we don't feel that that's a good resources.
Well, I think maybe I would have done it a little bit more politically correct. I wouldn't put a red line around that didn't need a red line to begin with.
So
What
what,
just omitted it so that somebody,
No,
right now it looks like a.
We were just covering-
Waving the flag at them.
It was just showing you're the board.
I think what I would do is that next time, change your designation, cross hatch it or whatever, and indicate not now watered. So it's not something that's like we made a decision just to leave you out.
So Doug had a question. Go ahead, Doug.
yeah, just really quick. So Chelsea, a couple things, and they might be a little premature, but as we're looking at landscaping on Griffin or anywhere else in the community, where there's opportunity to put plantings to deter some of that street parking, if you could just maybe just keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
And then two, this is going to overstate the obvious, but I'd love to get out of the road watering and sidewalk watering business. So
That's James's goal.
in the new design, the street watering, I think will be addressed, but also this might be a timing issue, but I know we have issues where we're watering sidewalks during times where there is use. So either we solution it through design or we solution it through timing. So just points of awareness.
No more free car washes. Yeah, you got it.
I'm not going to do anything about on Griffin Drive. That doesn't belong to us. We don't make a decision about off-street parking on that. That's county.
Understood, but if we can be smart with our landscaping design and as long as it's approved by the county.
We won't put rocks in there, boulders, but we'll put stuff that will be able to park on one.
Also, the
Good.
county was out there handing out tickets at school letting out because,
That's not stop.
yeah, there was quite a few tickets that were being handed out today. So.
Yeah.
The last thing we need is more parking along the edge of the road to make it look like a mess.
So does anybody have any other questions for James?
I do
No,
not.
thank you.
No?
Very exciting.
Thank you.
We'll come back at 60%.
All right, perfect.
Got a lot more to say. Thank you so much for your time.
Mark Quinn.
Ballpark win for 60%.
We're looking at,
What is it's on, I guess.
it's the April, I think it's the second meeting.
So, very soon.
So,
Oh,
okay, so is this going to be a 2026 budget item?
It's already in your budget for 2020,
2025.
from the 2023 bond series.
Yeah, but how much money? I thought we were at 2.5 million.
We're gonna, Nathan applied for.
I've already submitted the grant.
Submitted the grant that I think you guys were successful, so our goal is next year, yes.
all right.
Between letting, final design, if we have any permitting, et cetera, so. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
And it, just look at it.
We'll look at that.
It will look at it because we pushed this one back 2 weeks because I must say thank you for the staff. I had some surgery and I would have probably been not been able to stand up in front of you guys. So the 60% might be just 2 weeks behind our original schedule. So
All right,
thank you.
15, welcome. All right, let's go ahead and move to the award consideration for the meter box replacement.
I move to approve agenda items 11, E, and F, because they all go together.
I'd suggest that the motion be taken up separately for each one of those items. They are separate.
Just do D.
Then I think I'm just gonna move on D.
I'll
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Motion and a
I'll second that.
11D, all in favor, say aye.
Oh, wait, discussion,
Oh, you wanted a motion, or you want a second for discussion, okay.
yeah. So D is those black boxes we've been hearing about, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then E is still the black boxes,
Yes,
and then F is the actual
meter.
meter itself,
Yes,
to three different people.
yes.
Yes.
And so the idea is that ultimately we will decide between the three people
Yes, ma'am.
which meter we're gonna put in.
Yes, after a not approximately 9-month testing period. Hopefully, at the end of that, we'll have what Arcadis and staff recommend to be the winning bidder for full deployment.
So have we decided which vendors are going to get which locations of the 3 types of meters we're putting in?
We've identified company A, B, and C, those locations specifically. We just have to assign each company those, yes.
So no.
We have it, we should put it.
Yes, Tony.
Madam Chair, I suggest that the motion be rephrased to read that the district award the bid or the meter box replacement to Met Power Environmental Services, Inc., based upon the recommendation from Arcadis and also from the Selection Advisory Committee, as outlined in the agenda item summary, blue sheet number 11D.
And Met
Unfortunately,
I knew what Karen was gonna say.
Tower,
seconded on that.
and just so you guys know, Met Tower and their sub Denko is here, in case you had any questions.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor and a second. Any more discussions? No, go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And for that one, that's all.
Okay, I'm gonna move on agenda item 11E, if Tony will tell me exactly.
This was a little easier.
Tell me what I wanna say.
We're hiring the engineer to do the construction and inspection.
I know,
I
but
would suggest the motion be to approve the task authorization with Arcadis Inc. In the amount not to exceed $799,480 for full-time construction, engineering, and inspection services and part-time construction management services for the meter box replacement.
How did we get
that's
around,
what I said.
how did we get around bidding this?
We did not.
We did
We
not.
have a current contract with Arcadis.
So that's how we did it.
Yeah.
Continuation.
Yeah, we,
Continuation.
it's a project under the contract we have with them that
Yes.
was
Under the.
negotiated after the ranking to the CCNA.
Makes it easy and faster, huh?
Oh, yeah, I just trying to figure out, as we've had this issue come up before.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Carol.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'll move on agenda item 11F, if Tony will tell me what I should say.
What I suggest, Madam Chair, Supervisor Pancow, is that the board accept the Selection Advisory Committee's ranking recommendations to award and authorize negotiations for entering into a contract with the top ranked firm being Pedal Valves Inc., National Metering Services Inc., and David Michael Ellis DBA M&E Construction. Is that correct, Chelsea?
Yes,
And recommend proceed to negotiate. If the negotiations are not successful, come back to the. Oh,
That's what I said.
firm.
Yep.
Basically negotiate with these three firms and successful sign the contracts. Not successful with one of them, then go to the next one.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 One question on how do we have dollar amounts in here now?
because we received pricing for the pilot study from those three companies. That
That's
total,
all, just.
yes, just the pilot.
Next item, community branding.
Can we skip that because he's not here yet? Because I thought y'all were gonna take much longer on the irrigation.
All right. So you're gonna go ahead and move to district manager items?
Yes, so, you were emailed and also attached is the, request from the PPC at the last meeting. You all, asked at the request of, well, in the last meeting.
During the last meeting,
During the last meeting, we received a letter from, the.
Jennifer Kalinsky.
Jennifer Kalinsky on behalf of the Community Association. Basically requesting a meeting with our consultant, Russ Wire, assessment methodology consultant, and having him meet with their professional consultant, Hank Fishkind. Board directed us to, Tony and I, to have a conversation with Jennifer and her team. And so what we're recommending as a result of that meeting is to, if the board so chooses, have Russ, Laura, and myself meet with Mr. Fishkind. I don't believe they've identified any PPCA members to attend.
It won't be the attorneys. The attorneys will not be there.
Correct.
Say it again.
The attorneys will not be present. It's,
I don't like the idea of a deal of something at this action, this level, and board not being involved at all. I want to ask Fishkind, I've got so many questions, it's not funny for that man. Because I've got history with him that goes way back.
Yeah, well, that's why we don't want you there,
Probably is not.
because we're,
But the issue is that I am totally opposed.
we need to move forward, not backward.
I'm not moving backward. I'm just asking questions. I'm trying to find out how is it that he tells me X when now he's telling me Y? But he's not telling me because I don't get to talk to him. As a board member, I absolutely refuse to have a meeting of where as staff and we who vote on this are not there to ask questions. That's absolutely absurd. Totally.
You
against
feel
that.
that there's gonna be some kind of a decision made
I'm
by
sorry.
that group, or what's your reservation?
My reservation is that I don't know that I'm being told the truth. I want to hear it directly from him. I would love to see his report that basically is being said, what his report says, but I haven't seen it from him that says all these things that they say he says, because I don't believe it. Because I got several
Well, here's
places
the
where
thing
he's
they say.
doing work that he's gonna have a
You're
hard time
further ahead of the
explaining.
process than I am. I haven't heard a thing that he said.
Do I know?
What is this that he's saying? I've not heard one word.
Read that report that we just got. It's 3 pages long from the attorney.
Their
It's talks about
discussion-
basically what he says.
Their
that
discussion and clarification.
It's not correct. It's bogus,
And
and I don't buy it.
I would like to see the meeting for the specific reason of in the attorney's memo. She specifically outlined 4 areas. She isn't talking about the whole methodology. She's talking about 4 areas
That is the.
that the association has concerns about. Russ is a professional, Fishkind is a professional, and our staff is a professional. I feel very comfortable that they could sit down and talk through these 4 items
I want to be
and come back with a recommendation.
opposed unless we as a board are involved in that.
We're not involved, we don't have to do anything.
You're gonna be making the decision, Bob.
But
Hey,
You're
Ed,
going to be making the decision, not staff. It's us 5. We're
We're not
gonna make the
asking them to
decision,
make
and I
decisions.
want
We're
to
just
be
having a
able to ask
conversation.
questions of the person that supposedly is telling us that our consultant, that nobody's doing. That's exactly what that letter said.
And I don't think it's going to be this guy against that guy.
Well, that's exactly what it's going to be.
No. 2
Madam Chair.
professionals sit down together and they say, okay, you use the ABC method on this particular one. Well, did you think about using the XYZ method instead? And the other person says, well, yeah, I thought about it and that method would require blah, 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 blah. And the history in this district is that they keep waterways separate, they keep this separate, they keep that separate. And the other guy says, well, did you think about doing this, this, and this? I don't mind a conversation where other ideas are brought up and discussed.
Neither do I. All I want to do is be able to be there and ask questions.
Madam Chair.
Because if we don't, we're going to have this come back and we are going to be making decisions and not having the ability to, let's say, quiz the people that are making.
Okay,
And
so-
my thing is that I'm totally opposed.
So
to that.
will you be willing to go ahead and have the meeting and we can decide, pick a representative of the board to go in and be at the meeting?
No, hey, Madam Chair, I have an option.
When Doug,
Yeah, I think, if we allow staff and the experts to get in a room and have a pre-meeting, I think as opposed to that, once we get the update from staff, I think it would be absolutely acceptable to invite Fishkind to a board meeting where we can directly ask questions and it be on the record.
Doug, our problem is time. We don't have time. We need really to have this meeting. And in fact, it should have occurred a long time ago. If Fishkind had his report done, why didn't Fishkind contact Russ and give Russ his opinion of the various components of the report? I've never seen a consultant do his work through an attorney. I've never seen that before in my life.
It's a win in the world, Ed.
The respect is that the consultant should talk to the equal consultant.
That's
You
what
didn't
this
do
is.
that.
That's exactly what this is.
Huh?
That's exactly what this is. The 2 consultants are talking.
They aren't.
Yeah, but I think, but Bob, I think Ed's point is,
The thing,
The
we're
issue-
talking about 4
The-
items.
I understand that.
guys.
I understand that. My issue is I want to be there to ask that consultant questions about these 4 components. Because I've got some history with this guy. How
And I
does
think the
he get on
issue
other
is-
projects? He does the very same thing that he's now saying is unfair.
well, I think, Bob, I think
find
the
that
issue
amazing.
is
But I
is
think
not
what-
having the experts in the room hashing it out, but the board is the one that ultimately has to vote. So we need to be able to get as much information firsthand as possible. So I think we need to, if timing is the issue, so we're saying this is going to occur prior to the next board meeting, which is the public hearing, correct?
That's it, really, Doug, that almost has to happen. It's gonna look pretty stupid going to that public hearing and not having yet taken and heard and discussed what this guy has to say.
So-
Unless we're gonna have another board meeting between now and the 20th, I don't know how in that difference you're gonna get this to happen.
So
I
what-
just don't know how it's gonna happen.
What I was suggesting is if the board approved that staff and Russ meet with Hank, we would do that as soon as possible, potentially early next week. That way we could provide a summary report of the discussions that were had and have it in your agenda for the next meeting. And if you wanted to invite him during, the public hearing, anyone can go.
Don't say it's too late.
Absolutely, and typically you would have, a party would typically have their expert appear if they wish to get anything on the record to address any particular issue by a governmental body. Because again, attorneys are not witnesses, attorneys generally are not considered as witnesses in proceedings, they're attorneys and advocates. Perhaps there might be some questions that can be provided to Chelsea and Laura beforehand by Mr. Tinkle.
I love the idea, Tony. I would, that's an idea, but here's my problem. What I'm gonna ask questions about that I don't know. I want to see a copy of this man's report. Now, if I've got a copy of that report ahead of that meeting, and then I can give you the questions and I get an assurance from you, you ask the questions, then I'm all for that. But I'm not gonna sit here and vote for this thing on a blind eye deal where you got two consultants here. It's like having two doctors, two lawyers, two of anything. You're gonna get opinions. It's not that one guy is wrong. The other guy's got a different opinion. That's fine. Show me your opinion. Let me hear, and let me see what you know.
What does he have?
Yeah. You don't know.
So we asked, as part of the conversation, we asked for what is attached here, which is a tentative agenda that.
Well, they said he's presented a report. I want to see the report.
That's what I was asking.
And if we're not comfortable doing it, if you're not comfortable with us having the meeting, that's absolutely fine too. We support whatever the board wishes to do.
I think a meeting should take place, should iron out. I think a meeting should take place.
I think we should get a copy of the report.
We need the meeting. We need the meeting. But we need to make sure we know what the hell we're doing at the meeting. I want to make sure that before staff or anybody else on our side goes into the meeting, they see what the man's talking about. We've lifted our skirts. He's seen everything we've done. We've seen nothing he's done.
Yeah,
Nothing.
typically, quite frankly, my other practice world, I represent private parties before governmental bodies. If I have a client and an issue with my client is objecting to or participating in a particular public hearing process, I don't like to drop off a comprehensive document the day of the meeting, the day of the hearing. I like to have the governing body, the decision maker, have my thoughts in advance of the meeting. Because that inures to the benefit of all sides, quite frankly, both my client that I'm representing, it's fairness to the staff and the governmental body and to the board. And if you try to, this is my opinion, in my approach, if you're trying to persuade a body to act in a manner that you wish on behalf of your client, you want them to see your thoughts ahead of time, get them to think about it, and maybe talk with them if you can. But that's, your approach is one way, but that's just my approach.
The other one, Tony, is that if you get that and you're confident in what you're saying, your first contact would have been to the other consultant. You would have done that. I mean, that's courtesy.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but anything other than not him, because I don't want to blame Hank on this. I'm blaming that attorney. I trust her about as far as I can throw her. The issue is that she's making these statements that he supposedly is making, and I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
So prior to the meeting with staff, we need a copy of the report. So the board can review and present any questions to staff. And then
that I go along with,
post meeting.
I have concern about if the board then each board member generates separate questions to the staff to present that poses.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Its own separate,
Yeah, it's the way we always do it. And then post the meeting, there would be an opportunity prior to the town hall to ask Fishkind to come in, make a statement, or answer additional questions.
Bob, let me ask you, is the report ready?
I have no idea.
Are you aware of the?
I've never spoken to Fishkind. I've never seen a report.
I've never
I don't have anything to do with
I've
that.
never spoken to this guy. I have no idea.
But
But remember, Bob and I are not Fishkind's client.
Yeah, no, I'm.
The association.
You guys heard my question.
Oh, I've heard it.
Okay.
can I make another
Yes.
suggestion? You continue this meeting to
That's what
accommodate
I'm
certainly
thinking.
next week, and we invite him. If he chooses to show up, he chooses to show up. If he chooses not to,
I think it's a good idea,
That's
but
what
I
I
also want to
was
mention that in these kind of proceedings, a person doesn't have to provide objections in advance. But I think generally good practice is they did. So the governmental body, because you can take, you're required to take the comments up until the time of the meeting, but I think that's a great idea.
But we still need to see the report prior to that.
Yeah, but just, especially when I get a letter from an attorney that's giving me threats of litigation if I don't do this, 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 and this.
I think that's all we can do.
I don't like that.
All we can do is request. You know, I think professional. Tells me should.
I think the letter specifically said they were not going, they are
They don't
they
want
not
to.
to file.
Yeah.
But that means the quite opposite.
Yeah, I'm not buying that one. It's, to me, the proper
Trust
way,
is heavy here.
the
Yeah, no, that.
the proper way of doing this, the proper way is that we should go to
I'm only available. on
the committee, the PPAC, and have them or the attorney furnish the document to us. We going to Fishkind direct is, I don't think appropriate.
Well, to me, the proper way is to have invited them in the workshops from day one all the way through. We
But they
didn't
were
do that.
fighting.
But we didn't do that. No, not to do the kind of give and take.
There was a motion that you made back in September that said we were going to hire another consultant.
And we never did that either.
And we never did that because you couldn't find one.
Correct. And then Tony had mentioned
But
that.
now you have another consultant.
Also,
Why
What are
can't
we
you
afraid
let
of?
the two consultants?
We're not, like, I think
well, that's what they should be doing.
we
They're
are
not doing
committed to that.
And
But they're not.
we're down to the end, and we have a meeting on the 20th. I don't want to go to that meeting on the 20th and not have given the opportunity to this guy to speak. If he doesn't want to furnish us with a copy of the report, as far as I'm concerned, to hell with it.
Well,
All right, I'm available on the 14th. So if you guys, that's the only date I'm available next week to continue this meeting and have him come in.
What is the 14th?
Right. That's the only day that I'm available.
Next Friday?
Yeah, so if he wants to come into the meeting, we'll have the whole parties here. That's the only item we'll be discussing.
I have to make sure Russ is available on Friday.
Well, okay, I guess I'm getting too deep in the process here, but I thought all we were considering was to have Fishkind and Russ together with these two staff members to have give and take.
Well,
And get
hold on a minute. Let's retract. The issue is we're having a meeting on Friday without seeing that report.
Forget about
I'm not
Friday.
going
Let's
to tell
talk
you
about
that
the
they're
purpose of
meeting
the
and try to do a speed reading contest on his report. If I'm going to have him go to the meeting or agree to the meeting on the 14th, I want to see the report so that I can read it ahead of time. Don't try to pull one over on me. I'm not.
Why do
buying
we
that.
have a consultant that just takes your blessing and not his? What do we have Russ for if you've got to have?
I said he was to contact, like, if there was.
Russ doesn't vote.
We got 10
I
minutes.
vote.
They're not voting in this, Ed.
No. This methodology and the deal that's going to come before us is 5 of us vote. Russ doesn't vote. Nobody else here in this meeting votes. We vote. And I'm going to have the knowledge of what I'm voting on. Right now, I have a report that I have all the confidence in the world on. But I am willing to listen to somebody with an alternative plan.
You don't want to vote on something you didn't know what was in it, but yet you were perfectly willing to repeal Rule 6 without having a clue what the financial impact was.
I didn't worry about the financial.
I know you don't.
I
Well, why worry about that?
Why
This
are you
is
so worried with
Yeah.
two professionals
meeting.
meeting and talk to each other?
They may all agree on it. There may not be any issues at all.
And they may
Because
talk in code to each other
maybe I-
that only they can understand.
maybe I want to ask them a question they haven't thought of.
So as of right now, what is on the table is staff with their consultant and our consultant. Do you want to do that, yes or no?
I make a motion that that's exactly what we did.
Second. I think the two consultants should talk.
That's not a serious copy of the report. I'm not going to be blindsided. That attorney,
Why are you
attorney
saying
is
that?
bad.
That's your opinion.
So
My opinion.
can we get into a meeting? Would your motion be to have them meet as soon as possible, maybe by Wednesday? And then a report to be provided to the board no later than Friday the 14th.
Great. Yeah.
Would that be a
Yeah.
motion? Because then that allows us, all of us.
I don't care what they come up with. We don't have to accept it.
Yeah.
Correct, but at least we'll have a report plus an additional summary of what the conversation was by us, the 14th.
Contingent
Yeah, but-
upon them providing their draft of their.
Are they going to give the report to Russ before the meeting? I don't want Russ going in there and have to do a speed read of this report. You don't do that to a consultant. That's bullshit. You don't do that.
Same words.
But I understand,
Morning night, but it was last night. I see what's coming and I'm not, if somebody wants to sue over there, sue me. Sue me, roll the dice and sue me. Because I think you're gonna get, you're gonna get your kid, let's get.
We have a motion for a
Well,
second,
I guess-
but I wanna,
What is the motion? I want to, I mean,
yes, well,
I think that's important. I'm not sure. what the
The
motion.
motion
is
is for,
the, go ahead.
the motion was that we allow our consultant to meet with their consultant with the two staff members. And then we'll have a summary of that meeting will be presented to us by no later than the 13th.
Which includes also the report.
Which includes any recommendation that they may or may not.
Plus the report.
Hold on, time out, you're, be concise with your motion, please. So,
Okay, that we allow the meeting to take place that's been asked for between Fishkind, Russ Wire, and the staff members. That's the first, allow it to take place. And then the second part of it is that if they generate a recommendation, that it come to us no later than the 13th, so that we can have, and that's it. And so then we can have a discussion on the 14th that we need. We can have adjourn this meeting and have a continuance if it's needed.
And one final thing, that the summary plus the report, because I just have the summary of the conversation, but not the report.
Well, we're requesting the one report. We can't amend it.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, if you,
It's in the motion.
that doesn't matter, they can say pound sand, we're
Okay.
giving you the report.
If they do that, then you don't have a meeting.
But then the not having a meeting is not beneficial to any of the parties. Is there any way that we can, that you reconsider for us to just withdraw your motion, allow us 10 minutes to get in contact with somebody, Pelican, either the President Association or Fishkind, and get yes and
You
okay.
can call Kalinsky and I can call Russ and see if they're
So-
available.
And then we can get that in now. So would you willing to withdraw your motion?
Wants to know, or she wants to know. See,
See, yes,
both, right?
Yes,
Available, is the report available? Can you send it to us? Secondly,
and then I will need to meet with us sometime next week.
so instead of taking a 10-minute break, do you want to let Scott do the branding and he and I can step out and make the calls?
Sure.
So you
That'll
want
work.
to table
Okay, so
the,
Bob, withdraw his motion.
Just see if Fishkind's gonna.
I'll read it through when you come back.
okay, so we're gonna jump over, so we're gonna pause this item, we'll come back to it. And we'll take up agenda item number 11U. All right, so we have Scott with Pearl Brands here to present the brand style guide.
Afternoon.
Hi, Scott.
So over the past few weeks, you guys have had access to the newly designed Gateway Services brand style guide. I hope you've had a chance to look at it and kind of go over some of the things that are in it. In order to be mindful of your time today, I think as opposed to walking you through all 20 pages of the guide and getting into details of that, what I'd like to do is go over what makes the guide important for Gateway, and then also how it's structured, and what each section is and how it's best utilized for Gateway. After that, we can open it up to questions if you have any questions of me or insights. And then I don't know if you guys have discussed the tagline options or not, and if you want to get there today or not, but if so, I've got those we can look at as well. All right, so looking at,
Tagline options would be like, make America great again, that kind of.
yes,
Okay,
that was one of them.
thank you.
So looking at what makes this, making Gateway green. Looking at what makes this guide important for Gateway. A, it ensures consistency across all communications. Does it matter? Do you want to go to the next slide or?
Tell me what you want.
Oh, okay. So it maintains a unified look and message across signage, emails, social media, reports, and public outreach. It also reinforces trust and credibility. Professional, consistent brand identity enhances public confidence in your services and your governance. It also enhances recognition and community engagement. A clear and recognizable brand helps residents, businesses, and stakeholders easily identify your role in the community. It clarifies messaging and tone. It ensures all public communications, newsletters, and social media posts align with the district's professional and community-focused voice. So that outlines kind of 4 main points of why this guide is very important to utilize for Gateway and the benefits that it will have. Moving down and looking at how the guide is set up, and it's really, there's a bunch of ancillary parts, but it's really set up in.
Can you go back
Sure.
one slide? And have we as a board ever voted on
The logo?
the logo,
No.
that logo
No,
that we're adopting?
no, because remember, I believe
I
Bob.
thought
made
we
a-
had some consensus, but we
Yeah,
had some
because
particulars
Bob
about it.
had asked for, my memory serves me right?
Some recognition that Pelican Preserve, which is a third of the community, might be represented in our logo.
Is that the wrong bird?
That's not in the logo.
I'm sorry, I don't see the bird.
And I don't see any old people.
That is not a pelican.
There's definitely not a pelican.
I don't see any old people. Maybe we could have,
Yes, I don't
Yeah,
see any
you're-
old people either.
maybe under the trees, we could have some old lady pushing a walker.
Can you tell us?
Some old lady.
Okay, I don't mean,
Okay,
seriously, I didn't mean
I
to
do not
interrupt
recall
you,
that.
but
I do not
I,
recall.
I think before you go through everything, there should be a vote on that is the emblem that we're going to use.
Well, of the ones that were offered, that was the one that was most acceptable at that meeting.
I
don't know.
understand that, and that's the one.
But I still have to
The
read.
poll,
The community elected or voted
Right.
as well, yes.
but I still think the board should say something.
Well, I think after the presentation, if we can vote for the adoption of the brand
Logo.
standard, including the new logo.
After the presentation?
That's what I
I guess,
would do.
I guess he's just explaining the reasoning why.
Oh, I understand. Okay, sure. Go for it.
Thanks. All right, so getting back to looking at how this guide is structured and the different sections and what they can do for Gateway. First one, it defines brand audiences. So it defines the primary, residents and property owners, and the secondary, businesses, developers, HOAs, audiences you serve. It ensures communication is targeted, relevant, and engaging to different stakeholders in the community. Next section gets into brand identity, dealing with the logo. This establishes consistent visual elements like logos, colors, and typography to maintain a professional and consistent brand presence. It strengthens recognition and credibility by ensuring all materials align with your identity. Then we move on to defining brand voice. Brand voice sets the tone and messaging style to reflect your community-centered, knowledgeable, and approachable communication. This helps create clear, engaging, and professional messaging across public outreach, social media, and official statements. And then finally, we talk about brand use across different media. This guides how you present yourself across digital platforms, ensuring consistency in branding, tone, and content. And it outlines best practices for website visuals, social media engagement, and video production to maintain professionalism and accessibility. So those are the 4 main sections of the guide. You can see, and it gets much more into the definition and why I didn't want to read through all that here today. But so that's basically the structure of it and how it will help Gateway and whoever is engaging with the brand and pushing the brand out there. Any questions or insights?
I would like to hear what Doug has to say. 'Cause,
Yeah, no, I think
You're
this is-
more into this than I am.
Yeah,
to be
it's-
honest with you.
It's absolutely in line with what a brand standard and style guides are. So everything he's saying is right in line with what I was expecting. And just for point of clarification, when you guys were talking about Pelican, what we're looking at here is the brand and logo of Gateway as a overarching community. We don't incorporate sub communities in the overarching brand. I mean, we can, but we have so many to incorporate: Pelican, Stony Brook, Gateway Greens, Pinecrest. So we don't typically do that. So when I look at it, this new logo and the brand standard and style guide represents Gateway as a whole.
Doug, I have a question for you.
I have to say, I don't disagree with that, except that when you come into any of the quote unquote gateway communities, you know you're in Gateway. When you go into Pelican, there's nothing to indicate that they're part of Gateway.
You
So I don't know
are
what
because
means
you're, but Pelican's community, just like Gateway Greens, just like Stony Brook. You have a designation that's different, but however, you're still part of the Gateway district.
But you pass a gateway sign to get to Stony Brook. You can't go to Stony Brook without passing the gateway sign.
Yeah, but we don't amend a community logo for one sub-community and not all sub-communities.
I'm not necessarily suggesting that, though. I'm really trying to point out that you can't get into Gateway Greens without going through a community sign.
So maybe
what we need to do is to put the gateway signs
by Pelican.
at where the Pelican Preserve signs are now.
Can you imagine us trying to put it in?
Pelican, we'd be happy to sell it to you at a good price,
No, but-
and then we could put a,
I mean,
Yeah, but
Pelican signage stays Pelican signage. Unless you want to adopt it.
Well, I think what he's saying is every single entry, except for the Danish Preserve of Commerce, has a gateway sign identifying the boundaries of the district. And we don't have one at Pelican, so it's not adding to the Pelican sign, it's maybe creating a half moon sign, totally new, that will say gateway out there, and then.
Well, that could
inside
easily
of
be that could easily be a
easily
sub.
accomplished, and I don't think that would be a wrong thing to do.
No, well, I mean, to me, that could easily be a phase 2 of this brand standard for Pelican.
Right. Okay.
I've had people ask me, how much is this gonna cost us? I don't have an answer. What's this deal gonna cost?
well, after we pass it, we can look at that.
I'm sorry? And the deal is, why do you need it?
We need it.
The average Joe on the street doesn't think we need it.
Yeah.
But my deal is I can't answer the question what it's gonna cost.
Okay.
Well, we don't know. I mean, because when you look at a brand, there's the first, and I'll let whoever the expert in the room can speak to this as well. But this can come in multiple phases over multiple years. I mean, the first step is to adopt internally on letterhead, the new building.
Your building.
And then you start to transition the brand over time.
I'm just
I mean,
trying to get a dollar idea. We talked at $10,000, we talked at $5,000, we talked at 20,000. I have no idea.
And I will tell you this, like, visiting the monuments as often as I have, they are massive disrepairs. There is no more repairing.
Oh, well, then hold on. I'm a little bit different now with that. If we're just talking about changing and upgrading monuments, I don't have a problem with that at all. I totally understand that. But putting letterhead and all that, people ask me, why?
Because you're gonna stay consistent with it.
They
If you
don't
consider
see any
voting-
advantage to it.
Yeah, well, once you get rid of all what we have, we'll get into the new one. I think there will be no difference for us. But I will say, I do believe there's savings on, I will eliminate at least 3 monuments.
Well, monuments definitely need to be taken care of.
So
I totally
so
agree
that's
with
the point. Once we're gonna take care of it, this is the time. So let's not take care of
Waste
it
money.
with money. So let's do it all once. And I personally would eliminate at least 3 signs. I would just keep the one on 82, the one on Daniels and Gateway Boulevard, the one in Stony Brook,
No, there was
and then in addition, Pelican. Because the money you'll be saving on doing the one by the charter school and Red Sox, you cannot see that. That's under there. There's a monument by the Red Sox in the Gateway Elementary.
Yeah, I know.
I would get rid of that one because you can't see it, and then anything looks like 2 feet
Well,
tall.
yeah.
So they'll,
Scott, how do people typically, roll this out?
Well, obviously, you do all the internal stuff first. That's not public out facing. And then depending on budget, I mean, obviously, the more you can do, the earlier, the better. So you're not having the brand confusion. So you're not seeing one monument with the griffin, one monument with the oak trees. So that type of thing you want.
We have that now. We don't have one monument that's the same. The Stony Brook is different than Griffin. The Griffin is different than Daniels. The Daniels is different than one by the Charles. So that, the confusion is there. We already got there.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
you're looking at $10,000-$15,000 to do each monument. So you can easily get to $100,000 real
Well,
quick.
like Scott said, it says the budget is available, you know, the paper stuff, the online stuff, like all of that's.
It's easy.
That's
Those are easy.
That's.
No brainers.
Don't come to Gateway Greens and say that. Because they'll just tell you, that doesn't mean you have to spend it.
Okay. It's staff time, that's all it is just changing.
The issue is we've got to have a reason we're doing it. Again, monuments I go along with. Monuments are, they show your community. Sure, going into some of the other things, I just don't see the advantage to it whatsoever.
Like
Having a
what?
letterhead, who cares what the letterhead looks like? I don't care about that.
No.
People don't look at it.
No, but let's see, I want to hear what you think. Go ahead. The letterhead is gonna be just, instead of sending to the printer and saying, hey, I want this, I want that, right? It's just literally that.
We don't send off and get boxes of letterhead printed. We just, as we type up a letter, we print it on our printer. We don't have
Yeah,
the fancy stock like we used to.
I understand all that, but out on the street, the question is, why do you need it?
because we want to have brand uniformity. We want to be clean
I
and,
understand.
okay.
Okay. So I'm, like I say, I'm all for the monuments. We definitely need monuments. I don't know how we, at one time, we had a picture of a monument, some with water features and some not. I don't know, we kind of got off of that.
That's for the admin building and the parks.
Once you pick a brand and
And-
colors and the logo, then we start to implement it.
So when we say brand, we're talking logo.
Logo, yes.
That's what we're
Yeah.
talking,
Okay.
logo.
So Chelsea, I want to remind us, we have never picked up, because Carol had this question and my memory was you did not pick a logo yet, because you know how we're showing the logo here, but I think it's for presentation purposes only. I don't think that's the logo that we voted on.
I think this is the one you were leaning towards. I didn't know that.
Because I remember we said, yeah, I remember there was no formal vote and I remember we said not all the colors. Because I personally said, let's do all the colors because they look like the fountain. It'll be easy if something breaks, you have choices. But then I think the majority did not want as many colors as there are now. This is also something that to me, whatever the majority
No,
wants.
from what I recalled, I think Doug was the most vocal about, keeping, because I disagreed, but keeping the dull, I'll call them dull colors or not as vibrant, bright
Mhm.
colors, but having options because of the new admin building and having
Yes, I
primary
remember
and secondary and
that.
having multiple colors. That way we have multiple options and everything's just not slate gray.
Do we have a pic?
I mean, typically you would have multiple colors. You'd have a primary, secondary, and supporting colors. I don't have a problem with anything that's been put together.
We can just pick one now.
Could you have a little?
You have the full brand style guide that I sent,
Yes.
because we can go down to the page that identifies all the colors.
Take care of that now, the colors and the logos.
Really, to Pelican Reserve is what Carol was talking about. The only way I see you can do it would be to have something like those two monuments over there that would say Pelican Reserve at Gateway. I don't know any other way you could do it.
Is this-
Because then
that's-
you've
I mean,
got all the
that-
communities over here still like Stony Brook at Gateway, Gateway Greens at Gateway, Timber Ridge at Gateway.
My sign doesn't say, but my community
Here they are.
name is actually Magnolia Lakes Aggie, but
That's what again?
Two
that's
pages
the
of
name.
them.
My community name is Magnolia Lakes Ag Gateway.
Yeah.
Most of them are Gateway, they just omit it.
That's what you'd want to do
But-
probably at Pelican.
It goes down.
say Pelican Preserve.
Well, it's not only like it's C5, I mean, that part gateway. I mean, it's more than just one community.
Well, yeah, but you're,
So like that, people sign on that side.
but I'm assuming that what you would be talking about is the two signs that enter into Pelican there at Tree Line, that were.
I'm saying
those
tree
signs
line
would be-
and,
The gray one.
tree line and Colonial,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
Not Pelican Reserve.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one, keep
Yeah.
it as it is, the entrance
Yeah.
of the gate. I'm talking about the one that's far out with the jasmine and
Right.
yeah, the one up there at the
The harbor.
entrance off.
Right.
That would say,
You have
Pelican
it.
Reserve at Gateway.
So do we want to go ahead and give the colors? Do we want to?
On the color line.
I didn't have any trouble with
There's 2 pages of them. There's those two, and there's 2 more below.
Okay, Doug, what is your opinion of
Yes,
colors?
let's see what.
I like either one of the first two options. If we want to stay with the canopy, that is somewhat in the color wheel of a green. I personally, I mean,
That almost appears like a gray green to me. Is
yeah,
that what you're talking about?
yeah. I mean, either one of those, I would be fine with either one of those. I think they would look really good. I kind of lean towards the blue just because I just have a tendency to lean towards blue. But
Keep
But
going.
most of the time, when you see the logo, to be quite honest, it's going to be in a one color. It's going to be monochrome, so it's going to be on a shirt, or like with the district staff walking around. That's what you're going to see, unless it's on like a monument or something like that. But even then, I think that green or the blue, either one's fine. And I'm fine with the logo. I think it's more representative of what Gateway is than the Griffin. And I think if we're at a point where the community has changed significantly over the past 20, 30 years, it's probably time for a refresh. So I like what they put together. I don't have any problem with the design, with the style guide, the standards, the brand tone. I'm fine with all of it.
So are you good with blue trees as opposed to canopy green trees?
Yeah, because
Or doesn't it matter?
It doesn't
We're
matter.
not talking about one color in the logo, are we? Because
no.
currently-
You're adopting the
The couple.
the-
Yeah.
all the colors in the spectrum. Like if you go back to just go back to one of the very beginning, what you used. Yeah, so it's there's multiple colors in that.
Right.
Yeah,
Which
so you actually have the
makes the
green.
hat
That's the
interesting.
green. That's the green, the canopy green in the logo, but you're using the blue in the gateway, right?
Correct.
It's kind of a mix.
And if you had to go one color on the logo, I would just go with the green. Because I'm not sure the blue would look right for the trees.
Yeah. So I think it's a combination of
Okay,
both. I mean,
Okay, Doug, make a motion then.
I think we had a discussion. Did you guys address the taglines? I don't know that we discussed.
No, we didn't get that. We're there yet.
we hadn't gotten
Okay,
there
the
yet.
colors, okay.
Just one quick question. So the two color palettes that we were looking at, the canopy green and the fountain blue, we could adopt both of these color schemes, could we not?
Those are the two primary, and then right
Yeah.
below them, we've got the
Yeah.
two secondary colors.
Right. So that's what we're adopting is the color wheel, which includes the primaries and the secondaries. So depending on, we would get guidance from the brand guys on how to leverage the brand or the logo in different circumstances. So if we were to put these on a monument, we would get recommendations on how we would color the logo in a monument type environment.
Right.
Percentage wise, so it's the
Yeah.
100% colors.
So we would be adopting this presentation with the logo, the brand style, and the style guides in association with this document in its entirety, which would be fine.
Okay,
What is the,
I move that we adopt the trees as the logo. And that the trees be green and that the.
You don't have to do that.
letters Be blue.
Yeah, you don't even have to do that, Carol, to be honest. We just adopt the recommended brand.
Color scheme.
Yeah, we just do it all. We do it in its entirety. But the one thing that Chelsea was saying is, if we wanted to adopt the tagline, if we go to that slide, that's something we probably should decide on, because we need to have one consistent.
What,
Well, let's do two separate things. Let's handle.
It's all the way towards the bottom.
Yeah, okay, so let's handle the logo and go ahead and approve that and make that as its own motion. I think that's what we're leaning, and then let's go with the tagline. So Carol, you had a motion to approve the presentation for the logo and the branding as was presented to us today?
Correct.
Okay, I'll second Carol's motion. Let's call for a vote on page. Okay,
what have we spent up to the day on this project? What's our budget?
Jesus.
17,000.
Okay, so we're not in it any deeper than 17,000 right now.
Yep.
Assuming we go all the way through with this and how expensive can it?
It depends on how extravagant you want to go with the monuments, really, because there's not many physical components that we have out around that has that Griffin logo, other than the monuments. Everything else is superficial, like the letterhead or the website, or, things that we can easily change out. Business cards would probably
I'm
be
just
at the
worried about
next
the
most
cost.
costly thing.
Yeah, I was thinking business cards and.
And like shirts, slowly over time, we would change out the uniforms.
Okay, it wouldn't be a mass.
No,
No, no.
Okay, that's why I'm there.
we have a budget to stay within, and staff, we make sure we stay within.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. I'll call it for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so tagline.
Okay,
Okay, do we have to decide that today?
No,
don't have to.
Because,
But Scott's not coming back for a tagline only.
okay,
Yeah, we could just give it direction at the next meeting.
Sure.
But is there anything you wanted to add to the tagline for them for future meetings?
Have you guys already reviewed them?
well, we had them in our packet.
Okay.
can you just speak to like, what is the, so everyone understands? The tagline is, like, in your opinion, it represents the community. It sets the tone and the voice of the community, our mission, what we
Correct.
stand for. Like, if you can just tell us what we're looking at so we can decide, okay, this is like our logo. This is our mantra, our chant.
Right, and it helps, in a nutshell, explain to the public, someone looking at, well, they might not know what Gateway Services is. It kind of helps lend some definition to that. Tagline does not have to be used every time you use the logo, but it's there in case you want to add context to what the logo is getting across.
We can bring back the taglines at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Back the taglines later. I don't think this board is speaking it as one voice right now, so I'd rather just push the taglines off and just put Gateway Services Community Development District, period.
Welcome
Right
to
now.
one gateway.
That's a great proposal, Dawn.
No,
We'll bring it back after budget.
in fact, I'm gonna add
Yeah.
something.
There goes your sign.
Gotta have something about traffic jams.
Anything else for Scott while
5
he's
minutes
here?
to get in.
No,
2
that's
hours to
good.
get
Thank
out.
you. Great job on this. Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Scott.
All right.
See you
Okay,
guys.
Have a great day.
Okay, so then now we're ready to move to district attorney.
District.
Oh, actually, no, let's go back to district manager items. Do you guys have an update for us?
I was able to discuss with Russ. He is unavailable next Friday. Tony, I don't know if you want to chime in about your,
No, I tried calling Jennifer Klinsky, went to voicemail. I just now see a text I got from her at 4 o'clock that she was on call at the moment. So I'm just gonna say, okay,
Okay, how about we'll go to agenda management and then we'll give you some time to reach out to her.
I'm gonna text you back. Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, so let's Chelsea go picture business.
Hey, Flavia, real quick.
Yes.
So are you the only one that's not available next week?
I'm available every.
But I think we want to know if they agree in providing us the report.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the question. Like I know I don't have to be there. I'm confident that the 4 of you guys can relay the message and I can read the
Okay.
documents. But I think are they willing to provide this board
That's the
with reports?
Okay, that's the
most
critical, that's the
important.
critical path we're trying to
Yes,
determine. Okay,
exactly.
got it.
And
Okay.
if they're not, then we'll just say, then come to the meeting. It's gonna be complicated. I wouldn't want
I
that.
thought the argument happened 14 was to have us a continuance of this,
But
separate from there.
correct, but to us to then put ourselves, because if we have a continuation, you have to have the meeting, right? But if they're not gonna meet and they're not gonna provide each other reports and
That is no reason.
then there's no point of us continuing this meeting. That's why. So let's just wait for Tony to reach out to Jennifer.
and that's if they even have a report.
Yeah.
We don't know that, so that's what Tony's clarifying. So on to agenda management. The 20th, we are trying to keep that as a very light meeting because of the public hearing, and we're going to be at the church over there.
The whole time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so we're trying, the whole
The whole
meeting,
meeting.
yes. So we're trying to keep that a very light agenda. And then, as you can see, the workshop in April, we are going to have a very 35,000 foot capital budget discussion for next year. Department heads and staff have put together kind of forward thinking what they would anticipate as capital expenditures for next year. And then obviously we want to get your input here if you have any initiatives that you'd like for staff to work on capital budget wise, but we'll have that for the April workshop. Unless you tell me otherwise.
Okay, can we also include methodology in that workshop also? Just so that this board can talk to each other?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't anticipate the capital budget.
At the April meeting.
It's up to you. You tell me what you
It'll
want.
already be done then. It'll be over with. The methodology will be over with after that 20th meeting. That's the way I vision it. After that public meeting, we'll have a vote.
Yeah, the only thing that changes between then and April is we'll be able to put numbers into it. Because we decide
Yeah,
styles.
yeah, because of the budget.
Well, and it'll take,
Yeah.
that's gonna
Well,
take
you know,
time.
guys,
Yeah.
the devil is always in the details. I mean, once we get close to a methodology, I would like Laura and Russ to sit down and put every budget line item
Every line.
into a silo. So that we know when we come to budgeting then,
You mean using 2024 numbers? Because we
Yes.
won't have 2025 numbers.
yes, but we'll have the line item. I'm not worried about the number. I'm worried about what line items are going into
No
what
category gets
silo.
placed.
Because that makes a big difference.
So we'll do half of that workshop for the, or less than that for the capital budget, and we can include assessment methodology as well.
And just so you're aware, I normally don't show the column when we're going through the budget itself, but all of those silos are included in my worksheet. So this year, because we're making the changes to the assessment methodology, I'll make sure that that is visible as we're going through each line item. We'll also
Okay.
not only assign the dollar amount, we'll verify what bucket. Because those buckets are already there. I just don't share those with you because it didn't affect it. It didn't make as big of an impact in the past as it does now within the methodology. So I'll make sure that that's visible as we go through the budget.
And you'll note the next President's Council meeting is in Gateway Greens and at the end of April. So, is there anything that, you would like to add to this?
When is the next budget?
Assessor, April 24th.
April 24th in Gateway Greens.
First thing will be the club.
Yes. And then, if we're done with this, I just have a couple, other items that I'd like to bring up while Tony's on the call. Monday, considering you guys have approved the meter box replacement project. Monday, we're planning on the contractor next week after NTP and all the paperwork gets signed, starting in Pelican Preserve. So what we're planning on doing is through each phase, as the contractor moves to the next community, we are going to have a town hall in that community. So Monday, the 10th at 10, we have the Pelican Preserve Town Hall for all of those residents for their meter box replacement. As of right now, we have penciled in Stony Brook to be the next phase. So as we progress through and get these boxes in, we'll host those town hall meetings and have kind of like a dog and pony show, showing residents, bringing the meter box, bringing in the assemblies and showing exactly what's gonna happen. I will be off next Monday. I'll be flying out of town, but if you need anything, as always, you can email me. I'll be flying to North Carolina for a long weekend for birthdays, so.
So who's gonna spearhead the meeting on that?
The meeting with Wendy.
The 10th meter.
No, I will be there. No, I'm sorry, the 17th. St. Patrick's Day.
So you will be there.
St. Patrick's Day, yes, I will be there at that.
Got
Oh, sure is a birthday.
There's two, actually. March is expensive for Chelsea. That's all I have under district manager items.
So Tony's still on the phone, so we'll move the supervisor comments and then go back to that.
Okay, I had, lady who I play bridge with, come up with, I think is a pretty nice idea. She said, there are people in Pelican that first of all, the majority of people in Pelican have no idea what Gateway is, have no idea what Gateway Services Community Development District, have no idea what a CBD is. They have no clue. I would say that's a good 90%. Even though they get their water, or even if they get their water and whatever, they don't. They identify with the city of Fort Myers because we're incorporated into Fort Myers. So we don't identify with county or Gateway, we identify with city of Fort Myers. And to the, of the other 10% that we've had some issues with, in the community association and others, saying Gateway just like almost raises a red flag. So I would like to ask the board if when we make comments that we not use the phrase one gateway, but use the phrase one district. It's softer. We know we're all one district, but we are not all one gateway. And so I would like to ask if my fellow board members would please use the phrase, if you're going to use that phrase, one district as opposed to one gateway.
Sounds reasonable.
That's a quote.
You want to come?
I'm a request.
And the roar of the crowd said,
I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it's,
I mean, semantics, one district all the time.
yeah, I mean, it's semantics, but look, if it makes Pelican feel better, because of the language, I agree with you. It is softer. Doesn't matter. I mean, it's still Gateway District, but it's fine.
Then the other thing was I was not able to attend the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee meeting, but I did read through their agenda and it seemed like one of their members, Mr. Ruth, had presented a rather interesting use for what you call now the fun park, which he wants to call something else. I can't remember the name.
Agility track or something like that,
Yes,
agility course.
but so there were some diagrams in with the thing, and I was looking them on my laptop, which isn't really very big. I don't know what happened at the meeting, but I was wondering, could we get maybe a bigger cut, all the board members get something bigger of what he's talking about than that 8.5 by 11 that I'm looking at, because it had a lot of detail in it.
What's he wanting to do?
Convert the fun park into like an agility course where you go and like train and work out. The PrAC has not voted on that. They discussed
It
it.
was just an idea.
It was an idea. I can, if you'd like it, I don't know if the rest of the board members want it.
I would prefer that it comes from PrAC, not from individual
I
members.
thought at one time that was one of the alternative options at the overall Mac Park
It
Master
is.
Plan.
It is, so that you're gonna be redundant. We have that video. Okay, it is in the master.
Okay.
And that's the one that we were actually got a grant, right? And
So,
we said that we
so
didn't want it.
did the advisory committee discuss that, or?
I don't
They
know.
discussed it in length and it was a night meeting and Carrie had to cut them off because it was going on.
Yeah, so I don't wanna redundant, I mean, at least I don't wanna redundant, I don't wanna build something of that commons and then rebuild a fun park.
Yeah.
You know what
Well, I mean, I think what I'd love to see from the Parks and Rec is, I mean, right now we've spent a enormous amount of time just getting momentum for the new Commons Park area. Eventually we will have to do something with the fun park, but I almost feel like we just need to put a pause on that and shift the park committee's attention to programs and how do we enhance existing usage in our existing amenities and facilities.
Carrie, Doug, Carrie did try to do that, but they wanted to discuss what to do with the fun park. So
Yeah.
I can emphasize that back if that's the direction of the board is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, I agree with Carol. I mean, I love the ideas and we're going to have to do something with that. I think I think we need to put a pin in that for a little bit and let's get some momentum on the park because ultimately, I think we need to get better, enhanced participation in all of our parks and amenities. And I think that comes through one, the enhancement of the commons area, but two, we need programs. We need programs to get people out. And I think we need to get a pulse check from the community on what they want to see. Is it yoga? Is it, senior programs? Is it enhanced youth programs? Is it, I don't know, garden clubbing? I have no idea, but if you look at the communities that do this really well, like Pelican, I think Gateway Greens has stuff they do more, maybe more alignment with the club, but and even Stony Brook, we've got an activities director. We've got someone that's coordinating, understanding what our residents are looking for, and someone to facilitate those programs. And some of those can be revenue generating. Some of those are a service that the district should be providing as a mutual benefit to the amenities that the taxpayers are paying for.
Well, anyway, I was just very surprised at it and was thinking, are they off marching by their own drummer or something? That I was surprised. I'll
Yeah.
admit that.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have any funding for anything of the fun park right now. And I don't think there's an appetite for any additional funding for the fun park right now.
And then my last thing, Laura, as we're coming up to the next budget now, 26.
Mhm.
When does something get put in a silo that is now a capital thing?
Once it becomes O&M. If it's capital, it stays in capital. Once it
Okay, so it
becomes
stays in
maintenance,
capital until it's built.
yes,
So like the admin building will stay in capital. It will not go into any silo or anything until it's built.
correct.
Well, not
That's what,
No,
So
what?
we anticipate that admin building to be constructed in, per the plan from OAK, April of next year. So if that were the case, we would have O&M expenses from April to September. So we would have to anticipate and put in the
You
budget.
know, construction always takes longer.
I know, but we like to plan, so
Right.
we would have to plan O&M expenses for those months.
utilities and all that.
But you would also be not having to rent any property and
Correct.
all that sort of stuff. So you're gonna,
Yes,
Some portions it would be a wash, yes.
okay. But that doesn't hit it until it's built.
well,
In other words, O&M for the park won't hit until that
Same.
that particular amenity is
Correct.
built.
correct. So what we'll do for next year's, for the budget for fiscal 26, because hopefully anticipating that both the admin building and the park stuff will be done before the end of fiscal 26, we'll have to gauge how many months of that will have those expenses, and that's the amount that we'll put into the
Just
budget.
have a partial budget.
For that, yeah, it won't be for a full year, it'll just be we have to guess when we'll be moving in and how much time and how much the expenses will be for that time. So it won't be a full year's of expense, a full year of expense.
Insurance, utilities, everything.
Right,
It'll be a
but-
partial year.
Like you said too, when we pay over
So
$2,000 a
building of the
month,
building,
that's
no.
bond money,
Pelican is going to be paying 14%.
correct,
O&M, we're going to be paying 1/3 of whatever,
a half for admin, yeah.
1/3 of a half,
Which is 17%.
17%. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Nothing.
Huh?
Nothing.
Say that.
Already done.
Nothing either?
I only have one issue, and is that stupid,
Wait, don't say nothing. Let me go to Bob and then I'll come back to you.
well, he might generate something.
Go ahead.
When do we actually plan on breaking ground?
Yeah,
We did.
we did.
I mean, when are you gonna get out there and start?
Real shovel.
When we get a permit.
Well, that's one of the questions.
Still on.
We still don't have it.
We have a hiccup with the roof, the roofing. And so the engineers and the architects and everybody are trying to iron that out. But as of right now, their schedule says April, like
Oh,
April.
sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So I just.
That's it?
Very fast. No.
So, that's it?
Are we in a hurry now? You gotta go to Brazil?
For bees are waiting.
Still people see.
Exactly, there's, you know.
I looked on site. Gateway site for the photos, groundbreaking. Am I not looking at the right place? Because everything I find here is just shows the.
We just posted it yesterday, today.
I was asking her the same thing, I'm like, I dressed up for what?
We just posted them today, because we just got the pictures back from the photographer, so
Came
can
with
you look over?
I went on it today. I went on it on the I didn't see it. Okay, that's all.
Give me a sec.
1 second, I believe that we have a widget on on the website that, and the.
Oh, I did not see it on the website, I saw it on
Yeah.
Facebook.
That's the one I clicked,
Oh,
what you're looking at right now.
That.
And all that was is the announcement of the groundbreaking.
Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, right in that widget,
The widget.
down,
Okay, so can we
right there.
can we
Oh,
go ahead, can we go ahead and put it what the link is?
It's
Yeah.
on our Facebook page.
Oh, it is,
Yeah, the link goes to the Facebook page.
Okay, thank you. Now I know how to find it. Maybe you do.
Oh, there you go.
I want to get rid of this thing.
where's Bob? Oh.
We have to log in, that's fine. Anyway, it's on our website, yes.
It's on, the link to the Facebook page is on our website, so the pictures are actually posted on Facebook.
Do you want us to send you the pictures, Bob?
No, I don't. I didn't know where to look for.
Once you put them out of the volume.
Anything else?
Nope, that's all I got.
That's it. Doug?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, I just have two things, just a reminder, and then just because during the meeting, I was getting bombarded with calls. Lee County Sheriff's Office, it has been on site in the last few days, they're enforcing speed, no parking on the right of way, and also the golf cart, okay, issues, so just FYI. And then I don't know if you guys noticed, sidewalk repairs in Griffin, and I'm gonna say thank you for all the signs and closures, you know. They're doing really fast, so that's FPL, right?
That is Atlantic Southern and FPL's paying.
Yeah, so that's underneath the power line, it's pretty much the whole entire sidewalk, which is good, it needed it, okay, that's it, that's all I have.
All right,
So-
going back,
Follow up
Where
on.
where we at on this?
Tony?
The meeting.
I talked to Jeff Lipinski, the attorney for PPCA. There is no report. Her letter is basically a summary of the observations and analysis that was performed by the consultant. And so-
Well, can we get a summary of that observation? Because I'm sure he had to submit something.
It is, it's in the packet, it's in the agenda packet.
Oh, it's
Yeah, I
just
don't know.
that? Oh, okay.
All this that's in the letters and all the.
That's all that you talk about?
writing.
That's it?
I don't know if that's all they're gonna talk about. I didn't ask her that. Okay.
That is why staff is there, not to intervene between the two professionals, which is what was recommended, was to make sure that they stay on track with only the 4 items that were addressed as part of that agenda.
So they're gonna just talk about those.
I just don't want to get ambushed at the 20th with Fishkind showing up. I feel not like that at all.
I'll make sure.
I understood, but
I've been down this road before. I've seen that before.
Right, to attend the public meeting?
And they want to do it, then all they're going to get from me is no, no, hell no
let me,
on everything.
We've gotten to that.
and I would suggest that, on the record, that there not be any determination as to what analysis is brought forward now. Listen to make a fair determination assessment at that time. That's when your decision needs to be made based upon the evidence and testimony that you receive at that time. That, I need to make that clear. So we're,
So,
Retract what you said,
I'm sorry.
retract what you said.
I'm just saying that, I don't want an ambush.
I understand.
We can't.
Again, I
We
understand.
Not want that, but at the same time.
I remember that happening back when we decided to fill.
Again, I understand that, and I explained to you how I conduct my practice and how governmental bodies appreciate getting that in advance, but there's no prohibition against that material being provided at the time of the board meeting.
so. We're
It isn't their, I mean, honestly, it's in their benefit to provide the documents to us as soon as possible.
Okay.
So we totally agree, we never thought about that, or we disagree, and then it allows them time to then come back with something else. I mean, so it isn't.
Confrontation.
Yeah, it isn't their benefit to bring that back to us. That's
So-
So that explains one thing, that explains why Fishkind hasn't gotten with Russ. He has nothing to give to Russ.
So does the board?
So the motion that I retracted, I'll reinsert.
Well, hold on, there was a lot of extra with that, so
There's no report.
the recommendation from staff and the discussions we had with Jennifer Kalinsky was Laura and myself and Russ meet with Hank Fishkind. They have not identified any other PPCA representative to meet as soon as possible. Only discuss the items that were provided to you in this agenda packet,
Right, just those four.
just the 4 items. After that meeting, staff will put together a summary report to include in your March 20th board meeting packet. And some of those items may be agree to disagree, or.
Right.
Right.
We listen,
So no PPCA will be at the meeting, just.
that is what is.
Because then we keep the board out of it.
Yes.
Right, so let's do that. No PPCA, just the professionals and staff. No board, no PPCA, period.
Is that a requirement of the meeting?
Sounds good to me.
I'm
No,
clarifying,
no report.
and
No
there's
report.
nothing available.
We're not
There's
getting a
nothing to
report from the
produce.
meeting.
We don't know. I mean, again, there is no report now.
As of
Whether
right
they'll
now.
have something at the time, we don't know.
As of right now, there's nothing to provide.
You've received everything that they have as of right now.
So does the board recommend that?
Yes,
Yes,
I made the motion. As we say.
I will second that motion.
as was clarified by Laura. Which is to have the meeting next week. I'm just recapping, I want to make sure that they're having a meeting next week. It's gonna be the 2 consultants and staff only. They're gonna have a summary and they're gonna bring that back to us on the 20th.
Well, can we get the summary with the
So,
details?
yeah,
In your board
yeah.
pack.
As soon as we get
As
it,
soon as you got
Okay,
it.
so that's the motion. We have a motion by, go ahead.
Does Russ know that this is going on?
Yes.
Yeah.
He knows there's no report.
we have to let
I
him know.
don't think Russ knows it. You're setting him up. I don't like it. It stinks. No, I'm opposed to it. You're setting the man up. Why would you
That's
want to
why-
do that to our consultant?
That's why I asked for the agenda in advance and Russ was provided the agenda and he's already reviewed the agenda.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, second by Carol. Let's call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I-
Did you get the vote?
He didn't vote. He's muted.
Just ask.
Is he gone?
Doug,
We don't get 200 per day.
Are you in
Yeah.
favor of the meeting or not?
195.
He only gets
Yes.
150.
$1.95.
Doug says yes.
Okay, so 4-1.
okay.
All right, nothing else?
Move to adjourn.